We're there.
Okay.
So let's call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. And please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of
of the United States of America and to the republic
for
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all.
Great.
Okay, Steve, you want to read?
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice this meeting was given in the annual meeting notice, which was emailed to the Herald News, the Record, the Office of the County Clerk, the college community, and posted on the PCC website and bulletin boards on November 19th, 2020. The public may participate in this meeting only during the public portion, which takes place near the end of the meeting. To be recognized to speak, members of the public who are attending on Zoom via the web should use the raise hand function. Upon recognition by the chair, you will unmute your microphone, video. Members of the public who are attending must hit 9 on their phone keypad to raise their hand to be recognized. Upon recognition by the chair, they can mute their audio by using *6 on their phone keypad. Individuals addressing the board must give their name, address, and audible tone, and will have 5 minutes to make their statement. Comments from the public, which are provided by email or written letter, will be read aloud during the meeting in a manner audible to all meeting participants and the public. The time limit for public comments shall apply to comments received via email or written letter. Such comments will be read from the beginning until the time is reached. The board may pass over duplicate written and email comments. However, each duplicate comment shall be noted for the record with the content summarized.
Thank you, Dr. Rose. Roll call.
Alumni Rep Balaam,
Here.
Trustee Drakeford,
Here.
Trustee Esquiche,
Yeah.
Trustee Glovin,
Here.
Trustee Moody,
Present.
Trustee Nutter, Trustee Poe,
Here.
Trustee Smith,
Here.
Trustee Trivedi,
Here.
Vice Chair Tanis,
Here.
Chairman Marco.
Here. Okay. First order of business is the consideration of the minutes for the December 15th, 2020 Board of Trustees meeting. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Okay. Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of December 15th?
Move it.
Second, Trustee Poe. Okay, roll.
Trustee Drakeford,
Yes.
Trustee Esquiche, Trustee Glovin,
Yes.
Trustee Moody,
Yes.
Trustee Poe,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Trivedi,
Yes.
Vice Chair Tanis,
Yes.
Chairman Marco.
Yes. Okay. Presentation. Dr. Rose, back to you.
Yep, Stephen Hardy and I are gonna walk you through the budget, and Chris is gonna put up a little slide for me, which will help us walk through this. All right. So obviously doing a budget during a pandemic is a very different experience than most years. We probably have more unknowns at this point than we typically do when we're trying to put a budget together. Obviously, the biggest unknown for us is where is tuition going to be where is enrollment going to be come September? We're down about 15% in the fall. That's about standard that most colleges, some were down a little more, some are down a little less, but 15% is about right where colleges are. We anticipate when all is said and done, we'll probably be down about 15% for the spring. The biggest drop is new students, and that is continuing in the spring. We're not as far down with the students who are continuing students, but we are way down in terms of new students starting at the college. Whether that's going to continue to the fall is anyone's guess at this point. So obviously, when we're putting this budget together, that's the biggest unknown, and that's the biggest thing we have to predict. In the past, if you predicted enrollment, you'd be off by 1% or 2%. You'd be up 2%, down 2%, which made a big deal, but nothing like what we're talking about now being down 15%. So the first assumption we had to make is where is our enrollment going to be this fall? And what the best estimate we could have is that it will be 15% below what was budgeted this year. Basically, that enrollment next year will be the same as this year. That's probably a safe assumption for us. Obviously, we hope to do better, but at this point, that's where we are. So that's the biggest part of the budget, is the total tuition and fees that come in. We are not recommending at this point that we raise tuition this year again. We froze tuition this past year. I'm not saying we don't need a tuition increase, but I think at this point, during a pandemic when students are, struggling as hard as they are, it's just not the time to raise tuition. So, we have done this without a tuition increase, at this point. We're assuming that non-credit tuition will remain approximately the same. Here's the big news, and the county is really stepping up for us. They understand what's going on, and the county has offered a $1 million increase to our budget. That would be the largest increase, certainly that the county has ever given us. I don't think it could have come at a better time. And, I think they understand, the type of struggles that we and others are going through. And so, that is incredibly appreciated at this point. We've got a couple of other items there, but the big one is on the bottom. So even after all this is said and done, in order to balance the budget, we had to appropriate $884,453 from our fund balance. Here's the good news. This past week, so you're all familiar with what the federal government did recently in terms of the second round of CARES funding, which came out. So last Thursday, we got our allocation from the federal government in terms of what we can expect. And that number is $11,803.91. So almost $12 million has been allocated to the college through this second round of funding. If you remember, the first round of funding was about $5.4 million. So this is obviously, double that amount. Even more significantly, there's a piece of that money which has to go directly to students to help students who are most needy. That number was in the first round $2.7 million, and it remains at $2.7 million in this round. So what that means is we have approximately $9 million in additional institutional support at this point, and they changed the rules on this money, thankfully. And two big things have happened in terms of the change of money. Change of rules. What they have said is that we can now use the funding toward revenue losses that we have. So if enrollment comes in low and we have less tuition dollars because of it, we can use this money to supplement it. If the state appropriation is down as it was this year, below what it was the prior year, we can use this money to supplement it. That was not available in the first round of CARES funding. It is available in this round of CARES funding. So we are very confident at this point that we will not need to use that $884,453 out of fund balance in order to balance next year's budget. But at this point, that's from I guess from an accounting standpoint, it's kind of plugging the hole there. So I'm going to stop there and ask Stephen if he has anything to add to talking about the revenue, and ask if there's any questions from anybody on this part of it.
Okay. Hearing none.
All right.
Steve's
Stephen, anything there?
Sorry. I think you did a great job outlining the revenue, so I'll just open it up to questions. Anyone needs clarity?
Yeah, I have a question. Actually, I have two questions. First of all, assuming that is this drop of enrollment predicated upon how does the vaccine distribution figure into that? calculations, Dr.
Look, we're here's the big issue. We're the biggest drop in enrollment is new students. And, the urban areas, especially Patterson and Passaic, because we saw the biggest drop in new students. One of the reasons, we think it's happening, and this is what they're talking about nationwide, when students aren't in school, aren't seeing their guidance counselors, don't have that, constant push, we can't go out to the high schools this year. I mean, we have people working in all the high schools every year, talking to juniors and seniors and getting them ready to go to college. We don't have the ability to do that right now. Now we're trying alternate ways to communicate with them, and we're trying to work around it. This year, about 50% less students from Patterson went to college. What that's going to be in September, I don't know. We're certainly hoping it's not going to be worse than that. I think we have good reason because of the vaccine and, hopefully because of things getting somewhat back to normal, that enrollment will pick up again. But, I don't think I think it would be irresponsible to budget anything higher than this at this point. And, hopefully we'll, have a pleasant surprise in September. But, at this point, just not sure.
Fair enough. The second question, this 9 million that we're talking about from the stimulus.
Yes.
Where is that going to go? With the fund balance?
Well, it's going to go, to cover expenses it can be used for this year and next year. So it's going to go into, paying for extra costs that we have in terms of running the school remotely and, but any cost deficits we have this year. But yes, I believe that we will end this year with a healthy reserve based on the fact that we're getting this money.
Thank you.
And I'll just, if I could add to what Dr. Rose said. So, I mean, really any student that owes us an outstanding balance, we want to use it to cover their bad debt and to allow them the opportunity to register. So we shouldn't have any bad debt.
And that's another change from the previous use of the CARES money. The CARES money they gave us in the fall, and look, I'm not going to blame the federal government this time. They did it very hastily, and I'm not sure they put enough thought into the rules. They changed. We could not in the fall actually help students pay their bills at the college. Well, that was prohibited. We could give students money if they needed to pay for internet. We could give them money if they needed to pay rent, but we could not give them money and put it on their account at the college. That has changed this time. So if a student tells us, I need money to pay my bill at the college, we can actually use this money toward that. So, that's very encouraging.
So I have a question. I'm sorry.
Sure.
So that's with the CARES 2 fund, because I know the two pots of money have to be separate. They don't want them really combined. So with the CARES 2 money, you can now cover tuition. What about with the digital divide? Do you have a digital divide? Is that nil at this point, digital divide and connectivity? All students have computers and access?
Well, we have offered all students that. We hope that all have taken, we basically had $199 laptops for students in the fall. And truthfully, if any student had a problem with the $199, we found a way of trying to cover it. So we've made those available to all students. Now because of this extra money, we can continue to do that in the spring. So, hopefully, that will take care of that. If students had problems with, internet, paying for internet at home or connectivity, we're able to take that out of the CARES funds and help them. So, no reasonable request that a student had of us in the fall was denied. And, up until last week, we were not sure whether we'd have money this spring in order to keep that going. And now we certainly have, a sizable amount of money to keep that going. So, we're going to work with students the best we can to make sure they have everything they need to succeed.
Thank you.
We can go on to the next slide.
Can I ask a couple questions on this real quick? Sorry,
Yeah.
Perfect. If you could go back a slide real quick.
We're there.
I'm not seeing it. Oh, okay, perfect. So how are we assuming rental income is going up when when you're not allowed to have functions? Who's renting out the Memorial Hall? Is that contractually already?
That's our lease with the county and the One Stop and the state of New
The
Jersey
state.
for using
Okay,
it.
so-
And that's a built-in increase in the 30-year lease we have with them.
Okay, all right.
And that's
And then-
minuscule. But,
Yeah, and then what are the other revenues?
Stephen?
So the other revenue, the bulk of that would be what we call bad debt. So student registers for the year, they can't pay their
Perfect.
tuition, so we write it off as bad debt. Then if they return to the college and pay, we recover it and identify it as other revenue.
So I'm glad, Stephen, you mentioned that, because that was that was leading question, just to understand. So when we're able to convert all our bad debt, are we able to convert all our bad debt from just this year, or can it go back and convert all of it and cash in on that?
It can go back. It can go back to last semester.
Okay.
They
So-
have changed. They have changed the rules retroactively on whether we can use this money to help students from last semester. So we actually have about $700,000 left over from last semester, and because of the new rules, we actually can cover any outstanding basements the students have at this point.
So we're
No,
not going to be
we're not going
writing.
to do
We're not
that.
going to be writing off any debt, right? Now, for last semester and this semester, we can assume all of our revenue has been collected or cashed, because now they're going to be able to pay it against that.
Yes,
that
and
fair
look,
to assume?
we're going to make sure that students are being responsible. We're not, we're not just going to say, okay, we're paying everybody's debt.
No, that's not my point. But the point is, as a financial institution, we're not worried about that part of it, right? So that's what and then my point was, let's make sure that, because I can imagine they're going to come back and audit us and say, hey, did you do the due diligence before you convert it over?
Oh,
So
yes.
that was the last point, right? So I know when our auditors come in, they're going to ask us, and they're going to want to know that we did our due diligence.
Well, that's not just our auditors. That's also going to be the federal government.
That's what I mean. Audit
we have a
every
report.
aspect of the audit when the money is being cleaned up, right? But all right, perfect. Thank you.
And they carry a bigger stick than the auditors. I think.
Yeah.
Dr. Rose, I know one of the, last week on one of the council meetings, a number of folks raised concern about the state budget.
Yes.
And, that's got to come up in February when the governor presents it. And so they're concerned there might be an offset,
Well, here's the deal. Obviously we're working hard with the governor to try and make sure that we're even pushing for an increase this year, and
Right.
they haven't said no yet. But one of the things is that with this CARES 2 money, there is a maintenance of effort clause in the federal legislation that says that states must maintain their level of funding for the next year.
Good.
Now, there's been ways that the state has gotten around maintenance of efforts, before, but I think what it means is we cannot expect any significant decrease in funding from the state next year. That's why it's not even here, because we're just putting that down as flat funding for next year.
Okay.
Flat funding is good.
Any?
All right, now we can move to the
Yeah,
expenses.
I was going to say, go ahead.
So in terms of what we're spending, the significant changes in this budget are obviously we're doing it budgeted on 265 full-time employees, and we have eliminated 25 positions to balance the budget. At this point, these are all positions that we have as vacant. So I'm really pleased to say that we are not going to need any layoffs in terms of for this budget. So I think that's probably the most significant thing here. Also, in terms of you go to benefits, we budgeted a 5% increase on healthcare premiums, which our healthcare is a January to December number. It is not it doesn't go by the fiscal year. So we just had new rates go into effect this January. We have rates going into effect next January. The state and Chairman Marco knows more about this than anybody else. The state is telling us that it should go down next year. Well, they told us it was going to go down this year, and it didn't for us. Whether it goes down next year or not, we're hoping, but we think putting in a 5% increase for premiums mid-year next year, again, we think is the conservative thing to do, and hopefully we won't have to spend it. But Dennis, would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I think, plus they're going to come out with the new Garden State plan,
Right.
which might even, help you.
That's what we're hoping.
Yep.
That is what we're hoping.
Dennis, you're saying it's going to go down next year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Premium?
Yep.
Yep. There's a new plan which
I hope you're right.
Well,
Yeah,
that's why we're not budgeting it down. I mean,
Yeah.
There's a new choice that employees will have come next January, and it's called the Garden State Plan. And basically, it's very similar to the plans which exist right now, but you're more or less limited to New Jersey doctors. And if people choose that plan, they will save a considerable amount of money, and they save money, we save money. It's very hard to know at this point how many will choose that plan over existing plans. I hope the state actually gets the plan ready for next year.
Yeah. That's the key. They have a subcommittee that's been formed, and they're doing some very interesting things, like even contracting directly with the providers.
Yep.
So your large integrated health systems like Hackensack Meridian and Barnabas, RWJ Barnabas. So I think that there is a shot.
Yeah, I think there is.
They're going to want to go after that membership.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we're certainly optimistic, but I think at this point, being conservative is the right thing to do. And truthfully, most years we've been budgeting far more than a 5% increase, and I needed it. So I think 5% is reasonable to do there. In terms of the rest of the budget, the non-personnel expenditures, basically we've kept everything level with this year, other than a few things which, like utilities and a couple of contractual services that we know are going up already. But other than that, so that's basically the budget. And Stephen and I will be happy to answer any additional questions you might have on the operating portion of our budget.
Okay, hearing none.
So the other two budgets that you have are the capital budgets for, and we have two of them. One of them is the Chapter 12 budget, and for those who are relatively new to the board, Chapter 12 is the program of which how we take care of our buildings and possibly build new buildings at times. That is a joint program between the county and the state, where they share the debt service on that. Obviously, that's the kind of money the county loves to get, in terms of the fact that we're able to bring in money from the state in terms of doing that. So our allocation, as you see, is about $3.3 million for next year. So we've got projects to submit in order to. It's a lot of fixing up buildings, and we're also able to put some more money into the Rifle Camp Park project, which we hope to get started soon, and that should also help the county, and they're being very good to us with our operating budget. So we want to try and put as much into the Rifle Camp Park project as we possibly can. The other budget is just our normal operating, our capital budget from the county. This is considerably smaller than it has been in the past. Typically, this budget has run about $2 million. This year you can see it's under $800,000. I'll be honest, a lot of it is we were able to take care of some longstanding needs with the CARES money. A lot of it was the type of projects which are the kind of things we would have had to go to the county for in the past. So we're not going to have to do that this year. So that budget is actually considerably down from where it typically was. So again, any questions that anyone has on anything dealing with the budget?
So I saw, and I'm sorry, I was trying to unmute myself and I kept messing up. When we saw the last one with the expenditures, right? It said that our positions went down about 25 million, right? 25 positions went down. Positions, and our savings roughly is about 2 million with that off of those.
2.5, probably 2.5 with
2.5. Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. I just couldn't reconcile it. All right, perfect. Makes sense. Thank you. You guys always are awesome, and that's good to see. Thank you, guys. You're ahead of the curve.
We try, and Stephen and his crew put a lot of effort into getting this done this year. We've had some turnover on the staff, so a lot of it fell on Stephen to do parts he's never done before. So we're very pleased he was able to do that. And so I truthfully, 2-3 months ago, I was dreading this budget because I thought it was going to be draconian and I thought it was going to be really bad. And instead, I think this is something we certainly can live with. And again, we're coming in conservative. Obviously, we hope that enrollment starts to pick up. It will start to pick up at some point. It's just the timing of it. Traditionally, when the economy isn't good and there's a lot of unemployment, our enrollment goes sky high. So this is probably the first time in history that we're not following that pattern. So, again, all things are different this year, and we know that, and we're going with that assumption that we can't count on, previous estimates to judge where we are right now.
No, I think it's good. You're keeping it flat. You hit the trifecta. You got the Fed money coming in, right? You got the county kicking in.
Yep. And maybe we'll get the state.
And maybe we'll get the state.
Yeah, we're working it. We're working it hard.
Don't I know it?
But we'll see.
Okay. No more questions about the budget. All right, Dr. Rose, you want to keep going, moving on?
Yeah, the policy issues are the same as last. This is the second reading on all the policies that we reviewed last month. So our board policy is that we have to have 2 readings to adopt a policy. So this is the second time they're up for reading. So I think we handled all those questions last month in terms of that. We've got purchases of goods and services. We did email you an additional purchase that we're very pleased we're able to get through. Now this is a different pot of money that we're using. So the governor had a Corona Relief Fund, which he gave us money for. And if you remember last month, we told you we got about $1.3 million from the governor. But there was a deadline of December 31st in order to spend that money. As part of this new federal law, they extended the deadline for that money. And I think we told you last month, there's just no way we could spend it, responsibly during the month of December. And we were hoping for an extension, but weren't sure that we were going to get it. Well, we got it. So one of the things that we budgeted for in there, and we think this is very important, is the ability to do instant testing for our students. That they can come in, get a COVID test, and we have the results in 10-15 minutes. So what the additional purchase that you have here is to allocate up to $200,000 of that fund for an outside group to come in, and probably they'll be here once a week. And anyone in the college who wants to get a rapid test can do so. I think that's going to give a lot of peace of mind to our students and our staff at the college, the ability to, get more frequent testing and not have to wait a few days for it. So that's the additional purchase that is on there this month. And so we'll be happy to answer any questions about any of the purchases that are there.
That's for additional testing.
Well, it's been the first time we're doing our own testing.
Okay.
And it's the rapid test. So, they'll be in probably once a week. And, if we do a couple 100 a day, that's fine. Whoever wants it.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't going to be offered to the public, is it?
No, just to the college.
Yeah, employees and students, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think we could fit board members in there if you're interested.
I get back, I might be.
I think that's a reasonable perk for our Board of Trustees.
Just let me know when the vaccines are ready, that's all.
Well, just on that note, last Monday, the county used the Wanacue campus to give vaccines. So they were doing it for first responders and healthcare workers last Monday at the Wanacue campus, and it went very well. So we're, they think that's going to be one of their, that they have come up with a site down county, which is, they're calling their mega site on Route 46 of the old Modell's Sporting Goods, which they're, going to be able to give a lot of vaccines. But for what I understand, they're going to try to continue doing it for up-county residents at the Wanacue campus throughout the semester. So what all they need is the vaccine.
That's right.
Everything else is working. They just need more vaccine.
Yeah,
We don't have the facilities for the Pfizer one, do you? No, we can't do that.
No, we're doing the Moderna, but even the Pfizer, it could be prepared and brought over. But it happens. We're doing the county is using the Moderna.
Yeah, now we just got to find out where that surplus went,
Yeah, that's a good question.
right? Okay. Let's see. We're going to go executive session.
I
Doc?
don't believe we need one unless
I don't
anybody.
I agree with you. Okay. All right. So let's see where I'm at. May I have a motion on resolution 2? Is that where we're at, Evelyn?
You're on
Unmute
mute.
yourself.
We're not going to executive session, so you don't need that. I think we're up to the public hearing.
Okay. Public hearing. Wow, we really jumped down here. Okay. Okay. Notice of the public hearing was emailed to, you've read that already. So is there anyone from the public that needs to be asked to raise any questions? Are there any comments? First of all, is there anybody in the room, in the public waiting room?
Does not appear so.
Doesn't appear so. Okay.
And Mike, you did not get anything.
No, I
emailed?
did not.
Okay.
So I think we're good.
All right. So we're good. So let's see. All I need is a motion on resolution number 3, the consent agenda. Items A through C.
I'll move it.
Second.
Second.
Paul. Okay. Roll.
Trustee Drakeford,
Yes.
trustee Esquiche,
Yes.
trustee Gloven,
Yes.
trustee Moody. Oh, he's on mute. Trustee Poe, trustee Smith,
Sharon, you're on mute.
you're on mute, Sharon.
Sorry, yes.
That's okay. Okay. Trustee Trivedi,
Yes.
vice chair Tanis,
Yes.
chairman Marco.
Yes.
How do we let Moody get off?
Trustee Moody, can you hit *6 to remove the mute from your phone?
Here he
Oh,
is.
there
Can you
he
hear
is.
me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
We just did a roll call on
Okay.
resolution number 3. I just need to have your vote.
Yes, I voted yes.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Okay. Are there any remarks from the trustees on any of the issues that we covered?
No.
No? Hearing none? Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
No. Okay.
Trustee Drakeford,
Yes.
trustee Esquiche,
Yes.
trustee Gloven,
Yes.
trustee Moody,
Yes.
trustee Poe,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
trustee Trivedi,
Yes.
vice chair Tanis,
Yes.
chairman Marco.
Yes.
Hey, stay safe, all of you, please.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
You
All
too.
right.
Stay
Take care.
safe.
Record time.
Yes, really.
For a budget meeting,
For a
absolutely.
Yeah.
budget meeting.